Good morning and welcome to another live with Hazel's Essentials number 3 set of dies. Bear with me, I'm just updating my computer so I can make sure I can see what you're seeing. And I'm going to need it this morning because I'm going to be using my die cutting machine, so I'm going to need to get the camera a little bit further away than normal, hopefully. So I'm hoping that you can all hear me okay. Thank you for joining me. Morning everybody, lovely to have your company. I'm going to share some different techniques for extending the dies, so changing a square die into a rectangle die. I've pulled out some different cards from the DT's samples, so I'm going to do some different bits and pieces. I'm not going to make the cards, I'm going to show you some different, like explain how we did those things. Thank you, Tracy. And then I am going to make a card because I was totally inspired by Emma's stunning. I just thought the colour combination, I love how the hearts like wobble because they're on acetate. It's so clever, they're just on a little bit of acetate, but when you pick the card up they like wobble. I think it's brilliant. I just thought the colour combination was absolutely beautiful, but I'm going to turn it into a 5x7 card, so I'm going to make the die smaller. And I just think it's really useful, or would be really useful, to know some different techniques of how different people do different things on their cards. So I'm going to share how to do that, not actually make all those cards. Sorry, Donna. I know you love me to make about 7 cards, but I'm going to make 1 card today, okay? Right, so let's flip the camera. Oh, I just want to reiterate as well and thank the stockists for obviously stocking my products. So if you do like these dies and you like what you see and you haven't treated yourself already, Hazel and Paul at Dragon's Papercraft have them. Wow Embossing Powder have them. Joe and Mark at Let's Create. Julie and Barry at Craft Bliss. Craftmania Crafts. Daphne and Jamie. Ben at Intercraft and Jane and Penny at The Art of Craft. They are also with Simon Says Stamps in America and with Jeanette from JCraft in Australia. Sorry, Donna, I missed your... I know, Donna, you've always got to you've got to push it, haven't you? I love it. Hi, Wendy. Thank you for joining us from the other side of the world. Good evening. I hope you've had a lovely day. We've got a beautiful day out there today. It's going to be 20 degrees apparently. Right, let me flip the camera and see if I can get it far enough away so that I can show you all the die cutting. Bear with me. Oh, come on. Make sure I hit the right button. Okay, so I want to get it. I think you can see that's not bad. Yep, I think that will be fine. You'll be able to see what I'm doing. Because I do understand, like, it's easy for us to say, oh, just extend them. And it's like, what do you mean extend them? So I really wanted to show it is so easy to turn a square die into a rectangle die. So like I've done on this one here, instead of using, now let me get the dies so that I can really explain this well. So it was the heart set that I used. So I used the 4th die in, which is this one, but instead of cutting it through all the way, I obviously did this in a piece of card, and I did actually use the straight edge die from the circle set to get a straight edge, rather than, I could put the scallop edge in the middle if I wanted to, and I'd have a scallop edge on the inside. But I wanted straight edges for this one. So I used these 2 dies together, and I will show you how, I did one and then I did the other. I'm going to do it the same way. But so instead of cutting it and then having this row going through the middle, I'm going to show you how to do that to extend it, to make it, you could do this for a DL card. You could just keep going. Once you've extended it, and you know how to do it, you can just keep going. You could make it bigger, bigger. Like Emma's done 8x8 cards, but use this little die on her 8x8 cards. And it's the same way, but just I'm doing it because I've only got my Big Shot as well. So I'm doing it so that it'll fit through my Big Shot. These are the dies that we're going to be working with. So Hazel's Heart Medley, which these ones have got a beautiful scallop edge to the squares. So these are your matte layers, and then you can die cut the hearts and create like heart apertures in your cards. And then the other set is her Star Medley, and this time we've got a beautiful decal edge, which it was so funny listening to Jo last night when she was saying about one of the first things she bought was her decal edge scissors, and I remember, I'm sure I've still got them, and they were so good, and I loved decal edge cards. So yes, you can use these to do your decals as well. And then obviously we've added a 4th sentiment set, and on this one we've got get well soon, good luck, job, to say, sorry, congratulations, your retirement and engagement as well. So if you've got the other 3 sets, sorry, you can mix them and match them and make more sentiments yourself. So they're the things that we're going to be working with. So first up, I'm going to show how I extended the hearts to create a panel to go on the front of my card. So I've just got my normal base plate and my cutting plate, and I'm just going to place this down on my piece of card, and I'm going to run that through. I do like to run it through at an angle if I possibly can, because it doesn't put as much pressure on your die cutting machine. It won't warp your plates as much, and it doesn't make that horrible noise. If you put this through straight, the rollers are hitting a very straight edge, and that's when it like bounces and makes all that horrible noise. So if you go oh, I've done it wrong already. I'm not concentrating. Right, if you want to cut a really nice heart aperture in the front of a card, you would obviously put it on straight. Let me just get all the little hearts out. That's a good start, isn't it? Oh dear. Okay, so you could just cut a nice heart aperture square in the front of your card. That isn't how you do it when you want to extend it. Okay, so let me start again. Get another bit of paper. Brilliant, I love it. Okay, so now I've got to empty out all my hearts. So I would say you do need to make sure, it's going to be such a mess in my room. You do need to make sure that you don't have any little hearts in here when you put it through the die cutting machine. If you do, whoops, then they're going to affect how it cuts. So always make sure that you empty the die out. And I just use my pokey tool, which I'm assuming, I don't want to do it over the die cutter machine because it will just make a mess everywhere. So you do need to make sure that it's empty. This time we're going to do it properly. So we're going to place our die on our bit of card, but because I don't want to cut this, all I have to do is place my mat, my top cutting plate above the bottom line. Doesn't matter if it's straight and this is wonky, I'm going to be able to line them up again anyway. You just need not to have your cutting plate, the top cutting plate, over the top of the bottom of the die. So let's run that through and do this right this time. So this is going to cut it some wonky hearts for me, if you like. Always make sure you clean off any that are caught on your base plate as well, because they will almost like emboss. If you leave them there, they will be embossed into your card. So I'm just going to very quickly just use my pokey tool and pop all these little hearts that wouldn't come out when I bashed it. The more you use these, the more the hearts will start dropping out, because I've noticed the other day, after I'd cut about 6, it was like, oh, they're falling out now. Okay, so make sure I've got nothing left in the piece. Now I can pop this back in, make sure you've got it the right way up, and I'm going to click it into place. And when you get your dies, you will feel that click definitely into place. So could I get another one on? I could. So let's go down as far as I can, and then I can cut that down. This is an A6 piece of card, so I know it's going to fit on the front of an A6 card. So you can make it as big or as small as you want. If you only wanted it a little bit bigger, you can do that. You just have to click those hearts into the ones that you've already die cut, and you can see the heart on the other side, but you will feel it. It really does like click into place. So let's pop that down. Now, if you're worried about it moving, then you can always tape everything down. But for speed, I'm going to hope that I can do it and not tape it down. So this time I want to put my cutting plate, I don't want to put it near this bit. So I'm keeping my cutting plate to the left hand side of my die. It did move. It did, hang on. The plate on the top moves, so I haven't got a heart that hasn't cut out. Right. Sometimes it's easier, it's going to be easier to do it the other way around. Right. When I put it back in, it is much easier to have the bit you don't want to cut, I find, at the end. Okay, so then I can feed this bit through and I can line that bit up better. Okay, and now I know it's going to go through and it's not going to move. So always have the bit that you're not going to cut here, so you can thread your plate through underneath the rollers. So now when I take this out, I've done it right this time. I've extended that square to make it a rectangle now. So good job I did that one, really, wasn't it? I'd tell myself anything. Okay, so I could use this as it comes. I could cut it down. If I want to make it into the frame like I did on this one, what I would do now, and I'm going to show you because it's the same thing. So let's pop this through. I'm going to grab the straight edge square and I'm going to place this down on my mat. Now, if you, sometimes because it's a magnetic mat, it doesn't like you putting it down, and the die will move because the magnet is pulling it. So sometimes it is a good idea just to use a little bit of tape. So line this up, get a nice border the same at the top and on the sides, and I'm just going to tape that down. I'm going to get my plate and I'm going to feed it through. So if you get in the habit of always doing it the same way round, I think you're far less likely to make any mistakes. So my cutting plate is not over the bottom part of my die. And run that through. Now obviously it's going to cut it wonky again, but it doesn't matter. So I can then take my piece off, so it's cut it here, and now I can place it down, click it back in again. Let's take the tape off because it's not moving nicely, and it will. So line it up, but then do make sure you've clicked it and you can feel it click into place. And let's just put a bit of tape there. And now this time I need to turn it around. I'm going to feed my plate through. Let's put it at an angle as well because it is better for your machine. Making sure that I'm not anywhere near that bottom line. And I can feed it back through. Whoops. And now when I take it out and take this off, I will have, oh, it almost hasn't cut there. Right, okay, so if that happens, just place it back on. Make sure you've clicked it into place. Don't rush this bit, like it's really important that it's in the right place. So again, now I don't want, I have to put it back properly, don't I? Because, so is that, it's probably that way, because I missed a bit. Where I'm doing it on an angle, I've missed a little bit. I know, so that was the right way round. Feed your plate through, and you don't want the cutting plate over the end part. I was hoping to make this look easy. And I'm not reading any comments, and I don't know Philippa watching. I know Tracy's watching, so I know that she will help with any comments. But look, now I've got those 2 pieces, and then I can just cut my frame, trim this down, and that'll be ready to go on my card. So that is how you extend the square dies. Let me just clean these out again. Just pop your pokey tool into any of the hearts, because you'll get a much better cut if the hearts are empty. If they're full up, it doesn't go through with the same pressure. So you do want to make sure that you empty all those out. But you also need to make sure that there are none on any of your plates, otherwise they will be embossed into your card. And I promise I'll hoover later. Hoover? What's a hoover? Okay, so next up, I absolutely loved how Philippa did her strips with the little hearts on. Now, you do it exactly the same way as I've just done. I've done different colours. So you're going to put your square down first of all. This time it doesn't matter, because then you're just going to shift it along, lock it all into place, and you'll end up getting your strips. Now, I could carry on and come down and keep cutting, so I've got lots of strips. And then you can literally just die cut this, and you can cut them out, and then you've got strips to go on your card, because I thought that was so lovely and such a clever effect, and just pulls all the card together so well. So that's a really easy way to do, and I thought those colours were lovely, and because it's double-sided you get different colours on the back. So yeah, so you could easily die cut yourself strips and cut those out. Now, I also wanted to share, I showed the cards that I've done. Now, I've done all these cards through my Big Shot. So we'll start with the 6x4. So I've got a straight edge card. I can turn it into a scallop edge one, or I can turn it into a decal edge one. So because I have a scallop, I'm going to do a decal. So I get my decal edge and I lay it on top of my card. Now, it's obviously going to make your card slightly smaller. And this one, because my card is almost the width of my cutting plates, I can't put it in at an angle, so it is going to crunch as it goes through. It's going to make that horrible noise, and it is also might warp my mats a little bit. But if you do that, if you keep turning them over, it does help to keep them flat as well. This time I don't need to worry, because my other cutting line is well past the edge of my card. So when you're doing smaller cards, you can just run these through. Oh, so much tougher because it's going through straight. There we go. And now when I take this off, you can just, and it's gone through both pieces beautifully. I mean, I could have unfolded the card and done it, but it's gone through both absolutely beautifully. And now I have either a beautiful decal edge card, or you can do exactly the same and have a beautiful scallop edge card. So this, I just think that's really great for, you know, doing something else with your dies that isn't a mat and layer. So for the next one, I've done decals on those, so I'm going to do scallops on these ones, and then I'll have some cards to use. Okay, so next up I'll do the 6x6 card. So this time when I put my scallops down, I just need to make sure that, right, I'm going to do it in 2 goes because I want it to be almost 6x6. So you could, if you wanted to make it easy for yourself, just put the scallop cutting line behind the score, okay, so that the scallops show the other side of your score line. But your card is going to be that much smaller. Because I want to try and keep it as much to a 6x6 as I possibly can, I'm going to lay my die and I'm going to tape it because my magnetic board is playing up again and wanting to move it. So I'm going to just take that down. So this time I'm going to feed my plate through, and I'm just not going to cut that last bit, okay? And I'll show you how you get round it. So, oh, bear with me. Okay. So just come in all the way through. Now, obviously, that last bit isn't cut. So I can take my scallop off, and what I'll do is click the scallops, find the scallop that clicks into place, and that's clicked in. And now I can pop it back under and tape it down. I don't need to worry about the, oh, I need to worry about that end, don't I? Oh, nearly. Turn it round. So we're always doing it the same way, and then it'll get to be natural. The more you do something, the easier it becomes and the more normal it becomes. Now I'm only cutting these last few scallops here. I don't need to go right back to here, so I can bring my plate further in. And it won't cut until it gets there. So now let's bring it back. And now it lined up beautifully because it clicked in. And then I can take that all the way off. Okay, I've got a straight edge for my card, but you would have to with a scallop anyway. But you also get this nice embossed line around the edge. Now I have got a bit of a line. Now that's where I had my plate. So if you don't want that to happen, move it further along and then just make sure you don't go under it with the roller, and then it won't do it. It was because I went under it with the roller. So that's a scallop card. And then you can also have the same with a decal. And I did the same with this. I kept it as big as possible. So I did do 2 bits, a second cut, if you like, for the decal. And I'm not reading any comments, so I hope everything... What GSM am I using? I'm using 300 GSM, and it's cutting through absolutely fine. Going through like double. It's cutting it beautifully. Oh, thank you, Debbie. I'm glad you do. Absolutely. You're right, Linda. And by me doing it and getting it wrong, I'm showing you how not to do it. I do that a lot, in case you haven't noticed. Okay, I'm just having a quick look to make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay. The pink tape is just low tack tape. I don't know if Jeanette buys from Crafts too, but it's from a UK company. Comes with the dispenser, and then you can buy rolls, and it comes in, I think, about 4 different colours. I think you can have pink, blue, yellow, or maybe 3. Can't think of another colour. But yes, it's very good. But low tack 3M Scotch tape is good as well. Anything like that. But it is just a low tack tape. There's also a really nice one that Marion loves. Can't think whose that is. I think it might be scrapbook.com. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do a 5x7 card. So it's going to be exactly the same as doing a 6x6, but instead of having to extend it to get it to go that way, I'm going to extend it to come down the card this time. So I'm going to place my card, my die on my card, and I am going to tape it. And this time, how did I do this one? I don't want it. Oh, they're exactly the same, Judy, for goodness sake. Oh. God. I surprise myself sometimes. Okay, so I haven't got my die cutting plate over the bottom edge, the way I've been telling you to do it all along. Sorry. Dear, oh dear. Okay, so let's pop that back through. So now it's cut the top, but we haven't gone all the way to the bottom here. So we've got that bottom part of our card still needs to be die cut. So we'll do exactly the same. We'll find the scallop and lock that in. Let's get it can't find it. Okay, they're up there. There we go. So that's there, but that's gone past. So I need to come up one. Right, that's one there, but I want to go up one. That's it. That's. Oh, maybe it is okay. All right, let's go again. Right, that I'm going to try here. Right, I'm going to tape it on, and you can always turn it over and see. Oh, it's just going to miss the very bottom. I think it'll be okay. We'll try it. So I don't want to cut that bit, but I do want to cut this bit. So I'm feeding my plate through. Now, I'm going to put my plate right up against the end of my die, but not so it's under it. I only need to cut this little bit. So what I'm going to do this time, and try not to get that line, is if I cut through, now I know I've cut enough of the bottom of the card. If I go back, I haven't gone over this part of my cutting plate. So now, when I take this off, right, I didn't quite move it enough. I would have had to go up a little bit more. It's still cut through beautifully, but I've just lost the bottoms of my scallops a little bit, so I should go up. So let's do it, because like everyone says, it's good to see the mistakes. So let's lock that in one scallop above, so we can feel it on the back. It's quite fiddly because I'm obviously only trying to lock in on one of the scallops now. Right, I think that was it there. That feels like it. But always check on the back so I can see that these are locked in the right place. That looks perfect. So that's the bit I want to cut. So I thread. I'm going to go all the way up to here again. I'm only going to cut until the bottom of my die pops through the other side. So now I've done enough, and I haven't gone over the edge of my plate. Go back through, and now that will have given me a nice scallop properly on the bottom of my card. So now I've got a beautiful 5x7, no marks on my card at all from the plates, because I didn't run it through the embossing, like underneath the rollers. Yes, it does come in yellow as well. Okay, so does that mean that JCraft do it? Oh yeah, washi tape. Washi tape is fine. Oh, they do have the big pink tape. Excellent. I did think that Jeanette did buy from Crafts too. Okay, so we can now have a scallop or a decollage 5x7 card. Okay, so next up, I wanted to show you. Oh, I loved this that Jo did. I thought that was so clever. So I've done a card blank. And I'm going to cut myself. We'll do the hearts. I need a strip of card, a bit bigger than that. Okay, so let me just grab a piece of card. We'll do a bit. Right, so I've got a piece of card. So I'm going to die cut. I'm going to make myself a stencil now. Now, you could do this out of acetate. You could do this out of the, in fact, I have got some. Oh, I think it's in here. Hang on. I've got some stencil. Here we go. So I've got some thin stencil that you can buy. There are different. Let me just cut a strip, and I'll make a stencil so I can keep it. Okay, so I've cut a strip of my stencil. I will find out what GSM this is. Let's put it at an angle. Let's get rid of my guillotine. And let's just run that through. Might make a bit of a funny noise because it's cutting through the plastic. Oh, didn't like that. Okay, because we're cutting through a firmer surface, it's cut through some of them. I would be better when you're using intricate dies. From Sizzix, I have a chrome plate, and if it's an intricate die, if you use the chrome plate, it will cut beautifully. So let's line this up again, click those into place if I can. I think so. Put that at a slight angle so we're not going through straight. Doesn't matter if it moves a little bit, other than the one that I have got out. I obviously want a nice stencil. I don't want it to be, oh, it's fine. So it did click into place and it cuts all those out beautifully. I got my stencil. This is, I've had this from Pink Frog, but I know other companies do stencil sheets as well. This is 190 microns. So then I'm just going to click it. I find it much easier to click in place in my hands. That's it. I can feel it going in. I might have gone a bit off skew. Not been very straight for my stencil, but never mind. Should have taken more time with the first set, shouldn't I? And then we can just get rid of those. And it's all lined up again beautifully. Let me just get rid of these parts. And then obviously I could have made this double thickness if I wanted to. But this is just going to be single hearts. Let's line it up again. Feel it click into place. Come on, click. It's because there's not so much depth to it as there is with card. Let's just use a bit of tape. I don't want to mess it up now. We've got so far down our feet. Oh, just love that noise. Okay, so let's just get all these bits out. Oh, what a lovely mess all over my floor. I will definitely have to hoover. Okay, so now I have a nice bit of stencil that I can use for my cards. And then, so what I'm going to do, let me just get rid of all those. I am actually just going to show you, because lots of us, when we stenciled, where's my card? We didn't stencil how Jo has, and I think it's such a clever idea. Let's use this bit of tape. So I do want it to go on straight though. You don't have to do the whole stencil. I like how Jo has done it so that we'll go down to say there. And then because we've got the side of the card exposed, I don't want to get any inking on there. So just cover it up with some tape. We can use those bits of tape again. And we'll go in with picked raspberry. Bear with me a minute. That's it. And I'm going to come in and stencil through with my blending tool. You can use blending brushes, whatever you're happiest stenciling with. So we'll do our first colour. I hope I put that on the card straight. If not, I'll have to cut the card so it is straight. And then you lift this up, and then we're going to place this down in between. So we can line up the parts of our hearts in between the previous hearts. And now let's come in with Wilted Violet, because I'm going to be using this later. And they're the ones I've got out ready. And now we can come back in. And because we've moved that down a little bit, or maybe should have gone only down to that one. Let's try, because I'd left a nice border around the bottom. So let's see. So mine is slightly, so I've done mine on the top. Jo moved hers over and did in between. Oh, look, we could do that as well. Let's do that. Okay, so let's come in there. Okay, so I'm going to come back in. I'm going to come in with Wild Honey. These are the 3 colours that Emma put together. Now, I must, and I nearly forgot, just wipe my purple off my stencil because I'd pick it up with my Wild Honey. So I won't worry about the going over the other side, extending my hearts and what have you. But so Jo had offset them, gone in between and offset, and I've gone underneath and in between. Oh, so you can get some really lovely different patterns. But I just thought it was such a clever idea, and lots of us have just used the stencil as it comes. So just making a stencil and just maybe using just little bits of it. You don't have to have the whole stencil. But I did like how, let's just offset this one. I did like how Jo had done it, just offsetting it a little bit. It's just so lovely. How fab is it? So just another way. So create yourself a stencil, definitely. Right, what else have I got to show you? Oh, so that, how we did the stencil, if you wanted a panel of all hearts or all stars, that's, you do it exactly the same way. So I die cut it into black, moved it down, cut it again, locked the last line in and just kept cutting until I had a panel that was the size that I wanted. Oh, okay, so Hazel sells Studio Light stamp storage sheets in 2 sizes and they're perfect for making stencils. There you go. Perfect. Myla, yep, that's perfect as well. As long as it's not too thick, that's the only thing. And the more intricate the die is, the harder it is. You need a lighter weight. I love that noise, yep. Okay, just making sure I haven't missed anything. Okay, so I also, on here, I'm going to put a bit of black behind it so you can see, I extended my stars. So we covered this earlier with the hearts. So you do it exactly the same way. You cut the top, don't cut the middle part, move it down, turn it around, don't cut the middle part and cut the bottom part. And then you'll have those lovely stars all the way around. I should have put black behind it just to make it really show. The other thing that I liked doing, and I wanted to share because I think this is like, how did you do that? So I'm going to bring my die cutting machine back in, and I might leave my chrome plate in for this one, and I will use the hearts again, but it's not that one. Okay, so it's actually been done with this one. So I cut to start with, and I did cut through the bottom, and then I just keep moving it down, moving it down, moving it down, moving it down, moving it down until you get to where you want it to be. So I have cut a panel slightly smaller, so it's the right size for my hearts, and that's going to go on. And I can cut everything this time. I don't need to worry about not cutting through that bottom piece because that is where my sentiment is gonna, that's the bottom part for my sentiment. So when we take this out, and we can, I wouldn't cut your panel down really probably until you've die cut it, because you're giving yourself a much harder job of making, you know, allowing the right border. So I would actually do it without cutting your panel down. So just do it on an A6 piece of card and then cut it down. Why have I covered? Oh, okay. So the reason I do this is, let me get right. So this is, I don't know if I've got a seedless preserves. Bear with me because it was one I lost. Is that seedless preserves? No. Trying to show you. Right. So, okay, so this is how it comes when you buy it, and it's been printed. So the colour isn't always perfect for what you actually get. So what I do is I cut squares of card and I ink blend with the actual ink pad on the top. Now, I think you can tell just by looking at that how different that is. So that is the reason that I do it. So I've got an accurate colour on my ink pad instead of the printed colour, because you can never print a colour, or it's very difficult to print the colour exactly as the ink comes out. This is onto shiny, or it's a bit of a matte card actually. Yeah, matte cardstock, matte finish to the label. But I just think this gives me a truer definition of actually what is in the ink pad. And I do a little strip that I put on the front so that when they're, let me just tip my camera up a little bit and you'll see, get my light out of the way, hang on. So that when I have them in my ink pad storage units, I can see the colours on the outside, and then the colour is also on the top. I've also put the name of the colour. I started off initially typing it all, but then I've ended up handwriting them because it's quicker. So that's why I changed the colour of the top of my ink pads. No other reason, just because I want a true representation of the colour that it actually is. I'm just going to use a little bit of tape. Get my plate. Again, I can put it on the wonk and I can put it through and not worry about the bottom part because I want that to cut. Okay, get rid of those. Get rid of all my little hearts. So now I've got my 2 rows and I'm just going to keep going like that. Get rid of all the ones in my die. Bear with me. That's absolutely fine, Anne. I do get worried that I don't see the questions because I find it very difficult to read them and to talk and to demo and concentrate on what I'm doing. Hence, that's why I make mistakes. Okay, so I've clicked that back into my hearts again. Just hold it with the tape and then I can do it on the wonk again. But again, I would be feeding that all the way through because I do want that bottom edge to cut as well. And then I don't think I need to do all of it, but so you know, I think that shows you what you do. So you just keep going down and I do it until it's I think I did 6 rows, was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows. But you will know because of the size of your piece of card for it to go onto your card as well. But so that's how I did that one, and it gives you this lovely panel in the middle, which is just fabulous for putting your sentiments on. And it really makes your sentiments stand out on, but it's got that lovely background. And again, how lovely would this look, say, I can't get it in, can I? Because I've put foam pads on it. Oh, and I put loads on as well. So, but you could put colour behind it and then you would see pink hearts or gold hearts or whatever. So yeah, so that's another, I do like to use them to do this. And I think it gives you a different look to how you think of when you just see, when you see the actual dies in the packaging as they are, I don't think you automatically think of extending them and doing things like that. And I just think it gives it so much more value, like to what you can do with them. Oh, the little white shells, bear with me and I'll show you them again. So I've got two, and it just gets stuff off your desk. Hang on, I don't think I can turn it, I don't want to break my camera. Yeah, so I've got two, but it actually gives you, like, I've got stuff underneath, then on one shelf and stuff on another shelf. I got them from Amazon. I will find you the link and pop that up afterwards. Right, I haven't even made the card yet, have I? Right, one more thing to show you and then I'm getting on with the card. Okay, so I really love doing these offset squares. I've done hearts, so let's do stars for this one. So this is an A5 card, which is a big card for me, but I love just offsetting these squares. So it's really easy. I've got my piece of A5, just a little bit smaller than A5, and I'm going to start in the top left-hand corner. Make sure you take your time, don't rush, because you don't want it to move, because you do want to have nice straight edges. So yeah, good to tape it down. That looks okay to me, I think. Run that through, and I want all the square. I'm not having to not worry about a part of it. Okay. Get all my stars out. Make sure there's none on your plate. None left in your die. Just make sure they're all coming out. Especially where you've got tape. Make sure the ones underneath the tape are out as well. Because anything left in it's just bunging the die up, and it just makes it maybe not cut through as well. I think it would take a little while for it to be so compact that they wouldn't cut, but it's a good habit to get into. Okay, now I would always want my stars to be the same way, so I need to make sure that my stars, because you need them to lock in to the previous star. So maybe I haven't got them the right way round, hang on. So I can check on the back, the point is at the top. Okay, so let's lock it in. There, I've just felt that lock in. So when you feel it lock in, I would put your tape on, and then it's not going to move. So now we just need to cut that square. So I've moved this over to the right hand side now, and I do like to do it a certain way because I do like to offset the last one. So let's just get these out. But because they're all symmetrical and it's all been thought out and worked out and made sure that everything is the same sizing and everything, it will always line up. So we've got our stars lined up. Now I don't want to come to the edge here, so I like to lock these in, but I want to offset this piece. So let's lock. Oh, I haven't got my stars up the right way, have I? Hang on, I haven't even emptied them out yet. Getting ahead of myself. I can't believe that I've already spoken for nearly an hour and I haven't even made the card yet. Never mind. It is Friday. Okay, so let's get it up. That's up the right way. Now I'm going to offset it because I don't want them lining up. So we'll lock in that one and lock in that one. If I could feel it lock in, that's it, I think. That doesn't look like it is to me. Oh no, it is. Where's the other one? So it's one there and one there. Yep, they're both locked in. You can see them on the back that it's locked in. And then we can place our cutting mat on the top again, making sure our edge isn't on the card, otherwise it'll mark it. Run that through again, and then we can take this off. Give those a helping hand. Get those all out. And there we have our 3 ready to be decorated up. Looks lovely with the sentiments. You can do it in hearts and stars. Loved how the sentiments then fit in different parts of the squares. And if we started to add a colour behind, it really draws your eye then to those lovely, you can have coloured stars, which is fabulous, obviously. Okay, so let me just tidy up a little bit, get everything back in its rightful home. I don't know if I need my die cutting machine, so let me just pop that. Oh, I will do. I will need it. Right, I'm going to pop it on the floor for a minute. Oh, I don't need 2 like that, do I? Oh, okay. So let me bring in Emma's beautiful card. So I really love this. I have done some of it already, so we won't be here for hours and hours. So I really love this card, but I don't often make big cards like this. Like 5x7 is a big card for me. So I wanted to turn it into a 5x7. So I have stamped and embossed with white embossing powder from my Perfectly Pretty Blooms. Done one of the flowers around the edge. Didn't worry about ink in the centre because I'm going to cover it up. And then I've used Wilted Violet, Picked Raspberry and Wild Honey, which I think are Emma's colours, because I just thought the colour combo was absolutely beautiful. And then Emma's got these lovely splodges of black, and it really ties it all in. Obviously she's got black centres to her flowers as well, but it really ties it in with the black that she's put behind her panels as well. So I think I don't know whether to splodge it or not. Maybe we shouldn't, and then it'll be a bit different. The only, because I haven't got black paint, but I have got black. No, I'm going to have a go at splodging. So I've got black soot, and I'm going to put some out on my mat, give it a twist so that you get the pigment and the dye. I'm going to put some water with it, not too much, and I've got my cheap splattery brush, and I'm going to pick this up. And I'm going to tap down. Ooh, I just love splatting now. This splat brush, I'm going to put a little bit more water because I think sometimes it does splatter better if it's a bit wetter. But look. Oh my goodness, right. So when you splat with a lovely splatter brush, you get beautiful little splats, and it's, oh, I'm really happy with that. In fact, I might do a bit more. I love that it's little splats, so it's not too harsh on my card. I'm going to clean that up. To clean my splatter brush, I just put a bit more water down. I might actually have to take that downstairs because I haven't used black before. I've always used like gold or something, and it's been fine. Yeah, I think I might take it downstairs and clean it properly. But I need it again in a minute anyway. So I'm going to pick this up, make sure I wipe my board because I don't want to get marks on the back. And I'm going to put this to one side while I work on the next pieces. So next up, instead of Emma's heart square, I'm going to make it into a rectangle. So I'm going to die cut it, the hearts in my cream, and then I'm going to die cut the decal edge to go behind it. So let's get my hearts. So let's bring the die cutting machine up. move this out of the way so it can dry. If you touch the splats before they're dry, they'll obviously smudge, so I don't want to do that. I could heat them if I wanted to dry it. So I'm going to put my piece down and I'm going to leave it with a little border all the way around the edge. Let's grab another bit of tape, as I don't want my card not to work, so I am going to take that down. And now I'm going to die cut this. I don't need to worry about the other end of my die because it's past the edge of my card, so I could just run it all the way through, it wouldn't hurt, but there's no point pushing it against the plate if I don't need it cut. So I can take this off, and now I have my panel, which I cut this down to, I wrote on it I wrote on it and I just cut it down. It was 9 centimetres wide by 13.5 centimetres. And then empty those out. Now I'm going to bring this back in, and I need to click my hearts into place. So click these into where they belong. Put a piece of tape down. Turn that round. Now I only need to cut this piece because that is the only piece that isn't cut, is this strip here. So I run my plate through. Because it's all clicked into place, I can now turn my square heart frame into a rectangle, which will be perfect to go onto my card, but it obviously needs something behind it to lift it off. So I'm going to cut a decal edge for it. So I'm going to take the decal, my decal die, and just, this is an A6 piece of card. So just make sure, where's my hearts? So make sure that's going to give you a bit of a border around the edge, which it is. I can always cut a little bit off the bottom if I need to. So place this, almost looks like it's not big enough. Oh, it's very tight. Okay. I haven't got any more black card that I could cut up, I don't think. I need to get some black card. Okay, so pop that through. Again, I don't need to worry about this end because it's off the edge of my piece of card. Hopefully this is big enough to give me my decal edge. Oh yes, it's cut it beautifully. Look at that, got a nice decal edge. Okay, so now we can run it back through and turn it around and place that part on the other edge. And that is the only bit that I really need to cut this time, but I don't want to mark my black card, even though I won't see it because it's going to be hidden. And I finish off cutting that last piece. And it might catch the bottom a little bit. Let's get rid of any little bits, because it's gone through and cut those bits twice. That's fine. Right, so now I did put some pencil marks on my piece of card, which I want to get rid of. Let me just get rid of my die cutting machine. I don't need that at the moment. So I did put some marks down here just to make sure. I was trying to work out the size for my next piece of card. So now this will go on here. I need to bring a bit of cream in so you can see. I need to cut just a slither off the top and bottom, so bear with me. I'm going to cut it off the bottom because I've actually got the edge of the die showing on there, and the edge of the die, so it gives you a really nice straight line actually to cut up against. They might as well do it all the way round so it's the same. If I show you, you've actually got the line of the die. Don't know if that's showing, but it's just here along the edge of the hearts. So if I just trim so they're all the same in size, they'll all have the same border now around the edge of my hearts. And now when I put that down on the black, I've got a nice border all the way around. So I'm happy with that. So Emma decorated that. I'm going to do the next bit because I wanted to put, I might just put my words in there actually. So I have stamped, heat embossed and die cut my flowers. Can you see the white embossing on there? Just about. I did get my chrome plate. I got it, I think Marion got it for me. I don't know why, but when Marion had her shop. But yeah, it is from Sizzix. I don't know if other people do them, if they would work. I don't know if they'll work in other machines, but I do know if you've got a big shop, then I do love the chrome plate, especially like for the words and things like that, because it just die cuts them beautifully. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of colour to my, let me bring Emma's card back in. I'm going to add a little bit of colour to my frame and a bit to the centre, and I'm going to colour my flowers up. I've only got 2 because my card is smaller, and then we need to do some words as well. So if I colour all of this, I can die cut my words out of there, so that'll be fine. Okay, I can sit down at last. Shall I bring the camera down a little bit so you can see a bit better? There we go. Right, I'm hoping. Oh, good. I'm glad somebody else has learnt something today. What have you learnt? Was that Jenny? I know, turning a square into a rectangle. How good is that? That's what I thought. Okay, so I'm going to keep my colours the same. I'm going to have my wilted violet at the bottom of my frame, then a little bit of pink, and then some wild honey up at the top. So I'm just going to bring some colour in. I don't want the centrepiece to be solid colour. I just have a bit of soft colour in the centre. And I'll do some purple on my flowers. I'll just do my three colours on my flowers, but I do need a little bit of card as well to do my sentiments. So I just put a bit of purple down. Sorry, that was my computer. So then we'll bring in the picked raspberry and we'll add a little bit of colour by that. A bit of colour on my flowers, a little bit more down there, and then we'll come in and we'll have a bit of picked raspberry, softening that edge, blending that into the purple as well, which is lovely. Make that a nice soft colour in the middle. And then we'll come in with wild honey, which I absolutely love. It's such a lovely warm, it's just a really nice warm yellow. Bit of an orange tinge in there. But yeah, I just think it's such a lovely, it's a real sunshiny colour. I just thought the colours that Emma had put together just blended so nicely together and worked really, really well. Bit bright and cheerful, just like the weather. Well, it is today. Beautiful. Okay, so let's just put a bit more pink in there. Yep, and I think I could do just a little bit more purple for my word. That's fine. Okay, right. So now if I want to splatter, I need to do that again now. So I'm going to put a little bit more, because I love it. A little bit more black soot, but make sure you twist it, because that way you get the pigment as well as the dye ink coming out. Pick it up with my splatter brush. I did use my pokey tool, but I think I can probably tap just as well. Oh, just love it. Maybe a little bit more water. Obviously, the more water you put on, it's going to dilute it. Oh, just look at that. Wow. Maybe I splattered a bit too hard. Oh, it's lovely. Oh, it's everywhere. I've got it all on my computer. Never mind. Oh, I have actually. I've got it all over my desk. Oh, for goodness sake. Right, I will wash that up properly. Let's lift these up out of the way, just so I can mop any splats up that are on my glass mat. Okay, so let's put this together. Let's just give these all a quick blast, because I know this is still wet. Actually, what's rather nice is because it was the black soot and we put water with it, it's actually gone a bit of a grey colour. I'll bring it up and show you. Let me just heat these up. Yeah, it's rather lovely. It's almost gone a grey sort of colour rather than a black. And that's because we've diluted the ink, obviously, when we watered it down a little bit. Okay, so, and I need some words. So, let me get my... I've buried my words now. Where have they gone? That feels like them. Right. So, first of all, I am going to layer my heart onto my black card. And I'm going to do this directly onto it. So I'm going to get a little bit of glue all the way around the edge. On the bottom. And then obviously all in the middle. I am sorry that I've been on for so long, but I've had a lovely morning. I hope you all have too. Okay, so I can layer this onto my black decal edge. Oh, it's so hard to see. I think that's okay. Right, let's turn that over. I'm doing it with a cloth and press that down so it's nice and flat. Make sure that adheres nicely. Okay, any bits of glue, they will dry clear, but you want to get rid of them if you can. Okay, so let's bring in, I am so low on cardboard and it's a good way to use my foam pads up. So I'm going to use some foam pads to raise this up. I do apologise to Philippa and Brian. I will get some more cardboard sorted. But I don't have any big bits left. I've got lots of little bits. As somebody said, I need a trip to IKEA to get some decent boxes. Okay. So we've lifted that up. This is going to go down. Obviously, make sure your hearts are up the right way. So this is going to go down. And I like to make sure my border on the top and the sides are equal. I don't mind that the bottom one is a bit bigger. It's just how I like it like that. Now, I held the flowers into the waste while I stamped them and everything. If I want to curl and shape these, which I do, I'm going to cut into them a little bit. So cut down the petals. If I just cut on one side, I can keep the stamens, but keep them just on the other petal, if that makes sense. So I'm just cutting down between the stamen and the petal. And now I do need to find, oh, I can do it around my, I'm just going to curl my petals. Now this is Hazel's mixed media artist card. So this is quite a heavyweight card because it can take lots of water. Not that it needed to, but I just loved the effect. It's got like a slight texture to it. And it's just lovely to work with. Lovely card. I've just had to order myself another box full because it's lovely. It's great for inky backgrounds. It really does take so much water so well. I loved doing my felt tip pen, my water reactive backgrounds that I did the other day. And that card was beautiful for that. So just giving them a little bit of shape. And now with the piece that I've got left here, I'm going to cut some words. So I think I will say, or we could say just to say, where's my other ones? I can put number 4. We can attach this one to the other 3. So in here, I've got to find my birthday. I think it was on the last one we had just. So I'm going to do just to say, oh, I do need the blacks as well. I'm going to do the shadow in black so it really stands out. So the just is out of sentiment number 2. And I need to die cut these, so bear with me. Let me just bring my die cutting machine back up. And I'm going to use the piece of card that I inked up for my just to say. So we go just to and say, so we get the different colours. So that bit can go up there. Grab a piece of black and then I can do, make sure we've got them up the right way. So I'm doing cutting down, and I've got my just to say there. Pop that on, make sure nothing's moved. Run those through. Get my shadows off. Oops, don't want to lose any of them. Take those off and those off. Get rid of my machine again. Okay, so we have just to and say. I'm going to bring a bit of card in because it's very difficult on the black mat to see them. There we go. And then I did this in the colours so that we've got the say in the yellow. We've got the 2 roughly in the pink. Don't know what I've done with my pokey tool. Let's use my craft knife. It's here somewhere, buried. I've got another one anyway, so. Right, so then we've got the 2 in the pink, and we should have just in the purple and pink. Let's just get the other bits out. And our dot is still in there, so I'm going to leave that in there. I'm going to put some glue on my hand because I do find this is probably the easiest way, on my hand or my on a scrap of card. But just pick up and then I can pop that down onto the just shadow. Got a hairy bit there that I should have got rid of first. Get rid of. That's the only thing. Using the chrome plate, it cuts the words out beautifully, but it does make them a bit hairy. Right, got my dot. Then I can line up my J with my J on the shadow, pop my tweezers on top of the dot, and then it's in the right place. And let's just make sure there's no hairy bits on my two. Pick up some, then pop it down onto my shadow, line it up so that looks okay. And then again with the say, and pop that down. Okay, so now we've got our words and we can pop them. I'm going to put the words on first. And because we've got the rectangle, I'm going to have my flowers down the bottom, and I'm actually going to have my words the other way around. I think I'm going to do it like that. I could put them on with foam pads or bits of cardboard so I can raise them up if you want to. That does make them stand off the card again, but the black shadow is just so good for that. So now what I can do is, because I've done just to say, I can leave this now. And this could be, in fact, I can put little, oh, I could put little black dots or little black hearts, couldn't I? There's hundreds on the floor. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue in the middle of my flowers, and I'm going to offset these down the bottom. And I just have to do one more thing because they need some centres. Bear with me. It must be out on my desk. I do use it an awful lot, but I didn't see it out here. No. Oh, it's up here ready for my live next week. Okay, so I've just got to put some centres in here. Bear with me 1 second. I need a bit of black card. One last one. Okay, so have to finish them off with the centres. I could put black hearts in the middle. They would be lovely, absolutely perfect. I've got the centres from my Beautiful Blooms die set because I love these. But yes, black hearts would look lovely, but I didn't die cut any black hearts. These, obviously it's the hearts that came out were the same colour as the flowers, but I could obviously die cut some black hearts. And we did give you the hearts in the die set as well, so you do have them, they're ready to die cut out. But I love those centres. Okay, so my take on Emma's card, wanted to make it smaller because I do smaller cards, and I wanted you to see that it is possible to make smaller cards with Hazel's square dies. Let's come back out a little bit so you can see the whole of the card. There you go. So my take on Emma's beautiful card. Still so much, Emma's is so much nicer, and I could have done some wobbly acetate hearts. So all she's done is cut strips of acetate, put them behind her flower, and then put the hearts on, and as you pick it up the hearts just wobble. It's lovely. It is such a nice technique. I should have done that. Okay, let me just flip the camera. Bear with me. I do like to say goodbye. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that it was helpful and useful and that you learnt something, you are more than welcome. I just feel like sometimes just showing you how to do those things, and just, you can't assume that anybody else knows what you mean. And sometimes just taking that time just to show you, extend them, make them smaller. You don't have to use them as they are, you know. I just think sometimes it's really worth doing that. And I hope you liked the card, because I did. I love the black splats. I'm going to be doing that. I love the white embossing and then doing the inking round it. Black hearts would have looked lovely. Again, lining the dots up. I do that all the time. I put the waist back on top once I've lined it up with the letters that I've just added. Okay, so I'm glad you've learnt lots, Gail. That's brilliant. Okay, I'm going to go and make myself a cup of coffee, even though it's nearly lunchtime. I am sorry. Never mind, I hope it was beneficial, and I will load this onto YouTube. So if you have any trouble finding it again and you want to find it, it will be under YouTube, on the YouTube channel, and I will call it something along the lines of changing a square die to a rectangle, something like that. Anyway, have a lovely weekend. I hope you get to be creative, and that's my doorbell going now. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye.